Text-to-speech is the future, particularly for those who really, truly cannot be bothered to go down and get their microphones to record these pre-podcast messages. If I, the creator of this show, cannot be bothered to do the minimal amount of effort to get this done professionally, I truly have no idea why I would expect others to do the effort of subscribing to my Patreon, and yet here we are. Subscribe at patreon.com/MatthewDonald for bonus content every month where we talk about pop culture featuring prehistoric animals. This month we will have 2 bonus episodes, that's right, 2. One about the Valley of Guanji, a classic stop-motion extravaganza featuring dinosaurs and cowboys, and the video game Ratchet and Clank, Tools of Destruction, which has a level with alien dinosaurs in it, which is pretty neat I reckon. The reason there's 2 this month is not because I was feeling generous, but because I couldn't release last month's in time. I'm truly a professional. Link is in the description for where you can sign up. Why do I do this?
Roar, growl, snarl, bellow. Welcome to Paleobites, the podcast that's kind of like those Edmontosaurus fossils found in rocks dated over 500,000 years after the meteor impact at the end of the Cretaceous. It doesn't make sense, it's gone on far longer than it should have, and it's probably a fraud.
Probably.
Have you heard about these fossils?
Not lately.
The Paleocene dinosaurs, the ones
No, usually I hear about the trees that supposedly transcend time through multiple geologic layers.
Well, that's friggin' cool.
It's, people not understanding geology.
Or freaking Doctor Who. It's
something like that.
Anyways, my name's Matthew Donald. Each week I and a rotating series of guest co-hosts talk about and rate genes of prehistoric animal, be it dinosaur, mammal, arthropod, and so on. This week I'm joined by the paleobotanist who just told me of this tree that transcends space and time. It's Natasha Krech. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well, and those are some unique fossils that don't actually go through multiple layers.
Aww.
They just look like it.
I was wondering if it was like the Haikouichthys of trees, where it just lasts a long time.
They're fossilized trees, but they fossilize in a specific time. I don't know the ins and outs of it. Find a geologist. There's some really cool things, but sadly they're often used in ridiculous debates for young Earth creationists.
Oh, of course.
Who don't know jack.
Who are talking about, like, this can't be real. Jesus didn't say it was. I'm like, well, Jesus didn't say that your iPhone was real. Does that mean...
I mean...
the debates we could have with young Earth creationists.
I listen to them.
Oh, I'm sure it's exhausting.
Entertaining, more like.
Yeah, I guess that's true. It leads to like the whole thing with like that or like flat Earth. Or it's all very connected.
Well, it just shows a general lack of understanding of science. I'm no professional scientist, but I read quite a bit on science.
Right, and also like it's a fundamental misunderstanding that like so many people think of the main character so bad that they think if they don't understand something, it must mean it's wrong, not that there's more to learn that they don't know.
Yeah, and that's a complicated piece in and of itself. Let's go get a psychologist in on the mix.
Absolutely. It's like, because like, I know there's some things I know jack squat about, but I know there's people smarter than me in that field that could explain it to me. I don't know how the spreading of the universe via dark matter works, but I trust that astrophysicists do.
Exactly.
So I'm like, I'm not going to say they're wrong. What?
I don't know a lot about paleontology. I wing this show half the time.
Oh, that's true. I mean, I could just be making crap up all the time. This could all just be an elaborate ruse who's part of my scheme to make you distrust the government or something.
Always blame the government. It's always their fault.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I've been watching the show Secret Invasion, the Marvel show. I don't know if you've heard anything about it.
I'm so behind on my Marvel
movies.
No,
at this point, like, yeah, it's, either all in or all out. So, like, but no, like, I really like it, but it's about, like, the Skrulls, like, those shape-shifting aliens.
I've read some of the comics and seen some of the cartoons.
Yeah. Some people have an issue with the show because it does kind of perpetuate those bad conspiracy theories about like lizard people taking over the government, and also since the Skrulls are from an alien planet, they're trying to find a new home. It's like almost anti-immigrant. I think this is people looking too far into it.
People are, and I've encountered that fair number of times.
Yeah,
but these are also the people that wouldn't survive 5 minutes in a blue-collar job because of the humor.
Right, exactly. Well, I'm like, I feel like, there's nothing wrong with looking into, like, literature like that, or literature in this case being a TV show or something, and trying to analyze what it could mean. But this is the whole point of death of the author. As an English major, I know this. Once you create something, it belongs to the world. So it can be interpreted however you want it to be, I think. I mean, the author might have intentions on how it's interpreted.
Oh yeah, and many authors publish their intentions.
Right. But, like, you know the movie 300, right? Of course.
Oh, yes.
Like, this is Sparta, you know, like...
Oh yeah, seen it.
They will fight in the shade, like, which is, by the way, a historical line. Like, actual Greeks said that when someone said, our arrows will blot out the sun, then we will fight in the shade. It's one of those quotes that, like, it sounds so badass. You can't believe it was actually said in history, but it was.
Once in a great while, you do find a piece of history that's more fascinating than fiction.
Oh, absolutely. But, like, anyway, so the point is that movie has gotten some criticism with, like, you know, like how it depicts the Spartans versus the Persians and all that stuff. And some people have compared it to, like, the war in Afghanistan. But someone else pointed out that you can compare it to both sides of the war of Afghanistan.
You really could.
The Spartans could be the people of their homeland fighting against a huge empire that's trying to take over, you know, forcibly, which means they're the Afghans and Persians are the Americans. Or it could be that they're the freedom fighters fighting off a Middle Eastern sort of extremist group that's, like, wants to take over before they can, and then so it's flipped. So, like...
Yeah, some people struggle with critical thinking. It's not taught like it should be in schools anymore.
Absolutely not. But, like, there's also nothing wrong with a movie that's just fun. Like, try and critical think Velocipaster. There's no hidden meaning to that movie.
There is none. That was just a couple of filmmakers getting very, very bored, putting their work out to the world, and then it developed a cult following.
Oh, as it should. It's great. Listen to our Patreon episode where we talk about that, listeners. Anyways, but today we're talking about something completely different. We're talking about, I don't think I told you the one we're talking about today, because, like, I'm going to make several bad jokes with this, of the name of this creature. Haikouichthys.
Oh.
It's a Chinese fish, but since it has haiku in the name, you bet your ass I'm going to use this opportunity to do this entire stats thing here in haikus. You ready for this?
Good luck with that.
Haikouichthys, the fish from Haikou district in Kunming, China. It is a cranite, a creature with a backbone and a distinct head. If it's something else, it's unknown, but as of now, it's far too early. It's only 1 inch long. 2.5 centimeters. Its weight is unknown. Diet. Hell no that. It's jawless and very small. Let's say carnivore. Early Cambrian. 5-10 million years back, and 3 after that. Location. China, which isn't great about haikus, which are Japanese. But what else could I do an entire episode in all haiku for? Described 1999, in the year where we all panicked about Y2K. Walking with monsters, and that is it, I believe, which is kind of sad. Anyways, all that was haikus. So, I was really bored, okay? Okay, so, don't worry, I got all the haikus out of the way. I couldn't resist, honestly. I know the haikus are Japanese and those are Chinese, so it might be a bit racist, but it's the name, so I presume the etymology might be from a similar origin. I don't know. And I can't be bothered to check. This show's not about that. It's about dinosaurs. And speaking of which, let's talk about everyone's favorite dinosaur, Haikouichthys.
I didn't know people had it as a favorite.
Yeah, it's my favorite dinosaur. And it's sort of a dinosaur in the sense that its descendants included dinosaurs. It also included crocodiles, lizards, frogs, salamanders, dogs, cats, woolly mammoths, swans, geese. Your Aunt Phyllis, my Uncle Chester, your cousins from Alabama, their spouses / their own cousins also from Alabama. You get the gist. Like, this thing is believed to evolve into every vertebrate animal. This is like our earliest known ancestor. That we obviously we evolved from something beforehand, but like this is as far back as we can really get. Like for example, something further back we know of like Luca, the last universal common ancestor. I've talked about that before on the show. There's a whole episode on it I did with my sister. So this Haikouichthys is a little fish, you know, like about the size of your thumbnail.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's like an inch, like half an inch long, I think. So like yeah, it's like very small. It evolved back during the Cambrian explosion. So, you know the Cambrian explosion, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the time when God or Chaos or Mother Earth or Chuck Norris, or whoever you believe, breathed upon the world and said, let there be life.
And life got thoroughly drunk.
It got really drunk. Everything evolved during the Cambrian explosions. A few million years ago, there were just a few sponges and other weird organisms, but about 5 or 10 million years later, there are vertebrates, arthropods, starfish, jellyfish, trilobites, phytoplankton, just boom, all at once. And also a bunch of creatures that we don't have anymore. Like what is it? Hallucigenia, or the xenarthins, or whatever. Wait, xenarthins are sloths. Like, and armadillos. Something like a xeno something, I don't know.
In other words, many other clades that are not around today.
Yeah. The first, basically beforehand, I think it was pretty much sponges and starfish. So yeah, it was SpongeBob was the universe before the Cambrian explosion. But then Squidward evolved during the Cambrian explosion. Mr. Krabs was a bit later, and that squirrel was a bunch later. Do you ever watch SpongeBob?
As a kid, yes.
Yeah.
As an adult, I do not find the humor as appealing anymore.
Oh no, but like I haven't seen any of it until my fiance, I should say now. Yes, I'm engaged, listeners. She showed me some because it was her childhood, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so dumb. I want to see more. I gotta see more. So these guys, Haikouichthys, have a distinct head and tail. The head having between 6 and 9 gills that would later evolve into all the other facial orifices we all have. Like noses, ears. Those all evolve from gills. Even I think the mouth, was like the extension of like when the jaw first evolved.
That would make sense.
It's all just because we had those holes, and then those holes started to evolve into other things. It's interesting this animal looks like a fish, but technically isn't quite one yet, as it doesn't fit into any of the necessary descriptors of modern fish groups. But by all intents and purposes, it is kind of a fish. You chop it up and make sushi from it. I wonder how it tasted. Probably real bland. Or maybe really good.
Probably wouldn't be worth much more than using it for bait for slightly bigger fish.
Absolutely. This was probably as big as they got in terms of fish back then, though. So anyways, there's structures along the bottom of the fossil that might be, and this is the quote verbatim from Wikipedia, gonads or slime organs. But to be honest, what's the difference? Am I right? Sorry. So yeah, that's basically all we know about Haiku. It's so far back,
Well, and we all know how touchy the fossilization process really is.
Oh my goodness, there's so many fossils that are just not ever going to be found, and there are some fossils that were fossilized but then were destroyed by other means.
Exactly.
You know why there's no fossils of dinosaurs in Mexico?
The Yucatan
They
impact.
got all blown up. Any fossils that there would be in Mexico.
It got blown to hell.
Boom! Yeah, that's why all the fossils we found in the Yucatan or in Mexico are from post-dinosaur times, like mammals and other stuff. I think there are some dinosaurs in the parts of Mexico that are really further away, talking about the Baja California area.
Well, that would make sense. The further away from the impact site, the more likely you are to find a fossil.
Right. Or what about that? Have you heard of? So you know how in the Cretaceous, North America was split into 2 continents?
Correct.
Because of the inland sea that had the mosasaurs in it. The west one was called Laramidia, and we have so many fossils from there. The east one was called Appalachia, and we have barely anything there.
Interesting, considering how old the Appalachians are.
Yeah, well, it's because something about it caught the erosion and also glacial sort of erosion from the ice age kind of withered away a lot of sediments there.
So glaciers carving up the landscape.
Yeah. And it's annoying because there are some fossils we found there, very, very rare ones, usually from bodies that are washed up somewhere elsewhere, or other things. And the little glimpses that we find there are fascinating.
Interesting.
There's a tyrannosaur there called Dryptosaurus, but then there's scattered, very fragmentary remains of a duck-billed dinosaur called Hypsibema. That might have been the biggest non-sauropod animal of all time.
Oh, interesting.
A 50-foot-long duck-billed dinosaur.
That would be a sight to see.
We already have one, something like that called Shantungosaurus that lived in China, but this one would be about that size, if not bigger. So that we know of, we don't know. And then there's an ornithomimid that's Gallimimus and stuff, but Dinochirus-sized, but with the proportions of a regular ornithomimid. Possibly, we don't know. It's a mystery because all the fossils are lost, and we'll never know.
Sad enough, yeah.
I know, indeed. But anyways, let's rate Haikouichthys 1 out of 65 million. In terms of the fact that I'm glad that it exists because we're all here, 65 million, otherwise 2 million.
Yeah, it's good it existed, so it does get bought. Otherwise, it's nothing more than what I would use for a bit of bait for fishing.
I know, if it didn't exist, we'd all be crab people.
Probably. Things do keep seeming to evolve into crabs.
Carcinization. It happens so often there's a term for it. Oh, man. Kind of a shorter episode, but, there's only so much to say with this one. I mainly did this one because of the name, because I wanted to do all those haikus. The description of the episode is also going to be all haikus, too, because I'm a cringy person. Charmingly cringe, I've heard somewhat, though. That's the route of humor that that's my style of humor, charmingly cringe.
I mean, I keep my humor reined in under most circumstances.
Oh, no. We need to get you drunk for the show. We need to do a drunk episode. Have to be so many Velociraptor noises, or I'd have to use the explicit tag.
You'd probably need the explicit tag.
I might do that.
Get me unfiltered around some of my fellow truckers.
Patreon account. Patreon episode. Unfiltered.
You might as well just play 20 minutes of R2-D2 for that.
Yeah, or just like, so this wanker, like, with the like, it's like this goddamn pass. I'm like, Natasha, we were just talking about what coffee you had this morning. It's like this goddamn sons of bitchin'. Like,
I mean, no. Do we need to talk about truck yard humor? Do we need to
I don't know why I'm giving you like a British accent. It's goddamn bloody blimey bollock.
I mean, the phrase "goddamn motherfucker" is used as just a normal phrase at all the commercial yards I've ever been to.
Oh my god, so many Velociraptor noises here. But now this episode's interesting. All right, well that's it for this week, though. If you want to get a hold of the show, you can contact me. Ooh, I have I don't think you've heard this now. There's a special Paleo Bites email and accounts to follow now rather than just mine. So you can follow me. You can send an email at paleobitespodcast@gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter at paleobitespod, at Instagram at paleobitespodcast. So
I mean, I've been updating my Instagram as well.
yeah, I know. I noticed. Like NK Arts and Crafts is what.
Yes, NK Arts and Crafts. And as September draws closer, you'll see me ramping up what's on there.
Right. Oh, also, I need to remember to post pictures of us recording so I can put them on that Instagram. So I'm going to post a selfie right now.
All right.
I'm going to record on the air, and my hair looks terrible. I'm in my PJs, but who cares? All right. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna turn the camera around. Here we go. All right, this is the picture that's going to be on the Instagram. The one recorded while on air. All right, anyways. I also have book series on Amazon Megazoic available for print and Kindle. Natasha here did the illustrations. It's great. Should be a new cover coming up soon. So I'm still waiting on the artist for that. They're taking a while. They have a kid. They're busy. So like,
well, that's fair.
But they did the Teslanauts cover, and you've seen that, man.
Yes.
It's wonderful. Good stuff.
Nice.
So, but yeah, all right, well, that's it for this week. I'll see you at the end of every episode of Paleo Bites.
Play some ocean noises, would you?
I was about to do a bunch of swearing. So, yeah, ocean noises. I don't know what that was. That was like an owl. An ocean owl. A sea owl. Are there any sea owls?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Speculative evolution. There you go. Have some fun with that. All right, bye.